So we all probably remember this guy harassing an innocent person on the streets of New York. A pretty disgusting behavior, I might say. Just picking on a random person, starting cursing at him, harassing him. Well, consequently, this guy was arrested and he's now facing multiple criminal charges. Well, that's a good thing, right? We want to have consequences for people who harass individuals on the streets, especially if these are innocent individuals that didn't do anything, apparently. This is a good thing, right? Well, apparently not quite. You see, it all depends on the group you are choosing to harass. Well, we are very concerned about the rise in Islamophobia on the streets of the United States. We seem to be somewhat ignoring the massive rise of hate towards other groups of people. Here are just a few examples. So, here are some Jewish students being harassed by pro Palestinian protesters. Some of them had to flee, others were hiding in a library, while the pro Palestinian protesters were chanting and banging on the walls in a threatening manner. Seems like harassment? Or how about this editor of the Harvard Law Review blocking the way of a Jewish student who is trying to go back to campus? Seems pretty harassy to me, no? And how about the Rabbi Shmuley, who is visibly Jewish? Whether he's ice skating or just walking in Central Park or Times Square, random people think it's a good idea to go and shout Free Palestine to his face. Is that harassment? I'm not so sure. The question that I have is what happened to all these people? What happened to this guy, for example, who is harassing a Jewish person and picking on him simply because he's visibly Jewish, asking him questions about Palestine? Or this guy who is following a guy who is allegedly a pro Israeli guy? Or this guy who's simply harassing a random dude standing on a street corner talking to someone who seems to be a friend? What happened? Well, if you were wondering, the answer is that nothing really happened. You see, after all, there are so many of these harassers that how can one keep track of all of these? So while it is bad to harass random people on the streets of New York, please be mindful of two things. First, who you are, and second, who is the person that you're harassing. Because more often than not, you can pretty much get away with it. If you are harassing an Arab American who's selling you food in a food truck, then you're going to be facing grave consequences. But if it's a rabbi or a visibly Jewish person or Jewish students, then don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. Not a big deal. If you block highways or entry pathways to international airports, or even try to block air traffic, then it's okay. You're just going to be arrested and released the day after. Not a big deal. And most importantly, if you deny that the events of October 7th ever happened, whether you're a doctor at the NHS in England or a council member in Oakland or San Francisco, then I wouldn't be too concerned. Don't be alarmed. You're going to be okay. And further, if you're explicitly calling for the genocide of Jews, and I'm not talking about those mysterious slogans of Intifada revolution or from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. I'm talking about really calling for the genocide of Jews, explicitly saying that we need to normalize massacre. Well, then, you guessed it. You're going to receive an honorary seat on one of the largest podcasts in the world. So, whenever you are thinking about going full racist and harassing random people on the streets, please be sure you pick wisely because, God forbid, we wouldn't want you to have any type of legal repercussions. So, please choose your target wisely, for your own benefit.